God's advice today. Have you ever felt that God is trying to speak to you, yet in the busyness of life, His signs go unnoticed? This message invites you to pause, reflect, and open your heart. Perhaps this is exactly what you needed to hear today. Watch until the end with openness, and if these words touch you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to receive more messages like this. Don't forget to check the pinned comment for a 1-minute prayer and a recommended message to help strengthen your faith even more. God said, "My beloved child, today I speak directly to your heart, and I want you to silence everything around you. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the pulse of my presence within you. I have seen your prayers, your sighs, and even the tears that never reached your eyes but flowed quietly within your chest. I gathered them all, one by one, for none of your pain escapes my notice. When discouragement tried to convince you that nothing would happen, I was simply preparing the stage for your miracle. While you thought my silence was absence, I was teaching you to listen with your soul, not only with your ears. Do you feel ready for a profound change in your life and in the lives of those you love? Sometimes all it takes is one small step of faith to open the doors of abundance, peace, and the blessings that God has already reserved for us. A simple 1-minute prayer can be the beginning of a spiritual journey that transforms your inner being and reflects outwardly. If you wish to attract more light, balance, and prosperity, both spiritual and material, click the link pinned in the first comment. There you will find a simple, love-guided practice to help you connect more deeply with the divine presence in your life. Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? John chapter 11 verse 40, and it is this promise that I want to reignite within you today. You thought time was denying you, but in truth, it was shaping you. Every waiting season, every tear, and every sacrifice were seeds sown in the soil of faith, and now the harvest time has come. Nothing in me is delayed, and no promise that leaves my mouth returns empty. Even when everything seems still, there is an invisible movement happening in your favor. Today I tell you with heavenly authority, it is time to believe and receive. What was held back in the heavens has been released, and what seemed dormant now awakens to fulfill what I have determined over your life. Believe, for the impossible has already begun to take form. Comment, I trust in the right time, because waiting is not the end. My child, I now realize that every moment of waiting was not punishment but preparation. Everything I have lived taught me that true faith is not born when everything goes right, but when the heart keeps believing even without seeing a way out. Today I understand that God's silence was never absence, but divine strategy. He hid me in certain moments not to punish me, but to protect me. Every closed door was a necessary detour that saved me from paths that were never meant to be mine. Every no was a loving way of saying, not yet, because His timing is perfect. And every tear I shed watered the soil where the miracle now blossoms. Today, with an open heart, I choose to believe even without seeing, and to stretch out my hands to receive what heaven has already released. I have learned that faith is not about feeling, it is about deciding. And I decide to keep believing, even when logic tries to convince me otherwise. For I know that the God who promised is faithful to fulfill, and what He began in me, He will complete with perfection and glory. Comment, I am waiting on God, ready to receive His blessings. And all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Matthew chapter 21 verse 22. My child, your words have never been thrown into the wind. I heard them all, even those whispered only in thought when pain silenced your voice. Heaven moved because of your faith, even when it seemed as small as a mustard seed. Never underestimate the power of your trust in me, for it is that trust that opens paths where human eyes see only impossibility. I saw you, weary and silent, kneeling and murmuring, "Lord, I trust you." That simple phrase was the key that activated my movement. It rose like a sweet fragrance to my throne and caused heaven to bend in your favor. Today I declare over you the harvest of what you have sown in prayer. Everything spoken through tears will now be answered in joy. What once seemed impossible is already being shaped by my will. Walk in confidence, for the time to see has come. Comment: God turns my weaknesses into strength. Now I understand, Father, that faith is more than believing in your existence. It is resting in your faithfulness. When everything seemed to collapse, your silent voice sustained me. I learned that faith does not erase pain, but gives it meaning. To believe is not to deny the tears, but to wipe them away and keep walking. I didn't understand the delays, but now I see they were the perfect rhythm of your promise. You never arrive late, for your time is the exact time of eternal blessings. I learned not to question the process, but to honor each stage of it, because in every delay there is a hidden purpose. Faith allows me to see beyond pain, beyond waiting, beyond appearances. And today, instead of waiting with anxiety, I choose to wait with gratitude. I know that what is mine is already coming from your hands, and there is no power on earth capable of stopping the fulfillment of what you yourself have promised. Did you know that there is an effective method to attract greater financial prosperity? This technique can help transform your deep-seated beliefs and change the way you perceive reality. It had a profound impact on my life, and we would like to invite you to explore this special practice. When we trust that God wants to act in our lives, we gain the courage to ask Him directly. God desires to bless each of us in a unique and wonderful way. That's why it's important to seek His blessings with faith and confidence, believing that He has a special plan for you. If you would like to support our work and the team dedicated to bringing content that inspires and transforms, we invite you to check out our product. The link is available in the first comment, so you can discover how this technique can also help you on your journey. Your contribution helps us continue sharing messages that make a difference. We deeply appreciate your trust and support. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, it hastens toward the end and will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. My child, I saw you weary, battling thoughts of giving up, looking toward heaven and asking, how much longer? But my timing is perfect, and I answer you now, until everything was ready not to be lost. You are far too precious to receive something before its time. I was arranging the invisible pieces of your story, aligning people, circumstances, and paths so that when the miracle arrived, it would be complete. You cannot imagine how many times I rescued you while you thought nothing was happening. Now, what once seemed like silence is revelation. What once was waiting is now fulfillment. What was hidden will become a testimony before many, for what I have prepared for you is not only a blessing, it is a legacy. Comment: my pain is not eternal, God brings relief. Before, when anxiety ruled my heart and impatience clouded my vision, I didn't understand that your silence was care and that your "not yet" was the sweetest form of protection. Each day of waiting became a lesson in trust, each apparent delay was a bridge leading me safely to the right place. You were never distant, you were working in silence, shaping my faith, correcting my steps, and teaching me to depend entirely on you. Now I see that nothing was lost, nothing forgotten, every tear recorded, every prayer heard, every sincere desire embraced in your heart. Everything I lived through had purpose, even the pauses, the losses, and the emptiness. I understand now that your timing is perfect, the flawless rhythm of eternity that never fails. What comes from you is never late, it simply matures. Today I declare with certainty, your time is the best time, and my waiting was never in vain. Comment, my worth comes from the infinite love God has for me. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do it. Psalm 37 verse 5. My child, your surrender is the key that unlocks the doors of promise. When you let go of control and allow me to lead, the supernatural begins to unfold. There are things I can only do once you learn to rest in me. Your struggle ends exactly where your trust begins. Many try to solve the impossible through their own strength, but you were called to live by faith, not by logic. When you surrender, I act. When you trust, I accelerate. When you rest, I transform. I teach you to release not out of defeat, but out of wisdom, because what belongs to you will never be lost in my hands. Today I tell you tenderly and with authority, let me be the author and finisher of your story. I do not make mistakes, I do not delay promises, and I never forget a child who trusts in me. When you place in my hands what hurts, I return to you what heals. Comment, every act of faith is a treasure to God. Father, today I understand that surrendering is not losing, it is being set free. When I place in your hands what burdens me, I find rest. I have tried to solve things in my own strength, I've grown weary trying to foresee what only you know, but now I realize your way is higher than mine. To surrender is to recognize that control was never mine, that true safety rests only in you. I no longer wish to resist what was meant to teach me or fight against what your love desires to transform. I only want to trust, to rest, and to let your will guide me. I give you my doubts, fears, plans, pain, and dreams, because I trust in your touch, your direction, and your timing. Today I release everything that holds me back and place in your hands what is beyond my reach. I know your care is greater than my hurry, and your purpose is wiser than my desire. Comment, God turns my weakness into strength. Call to me and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know. Jeremiah chapter 33 verse 3. My child, when I saw you weeping alone, I was already preparing the answer. Before your lips even moved, my angels had already received orders to move on your behalf. None of your cries were lost, not a single tear fell in vain. I saw your sleepless nights, the days when fear nearly consumed you, and yet you stood firm, still believing. Today I tell you, the time of manifestation has come. There will be signs that confirm my presence, peace where there was once unrest, and answers where there was silence. Do not fear tomorrow, for I have entered it before you. I am preparing paths where your eyes see none, opening doors no one can shut, and restoring what seemed lost. You will see my hand move the impossible, and what was once a dream will become a testimony before all. The doors that once seemed sealed for all eternity are now moving by my own hands. Every obstacle that surrounded you like walls is falling before you, just as the walls of Jericho fell at the sound of obedience and faith. What for so long seemed stuck, blocked, and unreachable is now opening with the breath of my Spirit. I have seen your tears, the nights when you asked yourself if it was still worth believing, the days when the weight of waiting almost made you give up. But I tell you today, with the authority that proceeds from the heavenly throne, the appointed time has come. It is not an illusion, nor a coincidence. It is the fulfillment of the promise I made when I formed you in secret and breathed the breath of life into you. Everything that seemed like silence was part of the preparation. I was aligning the invisible, moving the heavens on your behalf, removing what was never meant to be part of your destiny. What begins now is a season of answers, of restoration, and of joy, a joy that does not come from the world but from my Spirit, which breaks the darkness and makes bloom again what once seemed dry. Comment: I believe in God, every challenge is a blessing. My child, I shout from the heights of heaven today because my love for you is greater than anything your mind can comprehend. The love that sustains you is not human, it is eternal, pure, and unbreakable. I loved you before you knew me, even before you spoke my name. I loved you through your falls and your attempts, your mistakes and your new beginnings. Not a single tear of yours was lost on the ground, nor was a single prayer ignored. Every sigh of yours reached my throne like a precious fragrance. When you cried in silence, I was there. When you knelt down without strength, I upheld you. When you thought no one was listening, I was collecting every word. And now, my child, the moment has come for you to see with your own eyes the power of my faithfulness. Do not underestimate what is about to happen. This is not a fleeting emotion, it is a real movement, a divine intervention. I speak to you not to suggest but to decree. I am the God who fulfills what he promises, who never fails and never arrives late. The time you thought was wasted was merely the interval I used to strengthen you, shape your character, and prepare your heart to sustain the greatness of what is coming. Never, listen well, never have I arrived late in your life. What seemed like delay to you was refinement to me. I do not work in haste, I work with purpose. You see time as an enemy, but I use it as a tool. Every apparent delay was an investment in your growth. While you cried out for an answer, I was teaching you to trust without seeing. While you waited for a door, I was showing you that there are windows open in the invisible. You were not forgotten, you were prepared. And now, with a steadier heart and faith refined in the fire of waiting, you are ready to receive. Yes, my child, today I declare, you have been found ready. And because of that, heaven now moves with urgency, for the promise can no longer remain withheld. I command what was stagnant to move, what was hidden to be revealed, what seemed dead to come to life. It is time to see clearly what you once could only believe. It is time to witness the invisible becoming visible. Comment: if God opens paths in the desert, he will also open one for me. Do you feel what is happening inside you right now, my child? That flame burning without reason, that emotion filling your chest, that urge to cry without knowing why, all of this is my Spirit confirming this word. It is the divine seal upon your soul saying, this is for you. I am touching your mind, freeing you from thoughts that once imprisoned you, restoring your confidence. I am healing old wounds, breaking chains that kept you bound to pain. I am activating gifts that have been dormant, reigniting dreams you thought were lost. And all of this is happening now, as these words reach your heart. Do not doubt what you feel. The spiritual realm moves in favor of those who believe. Faith is the language that unlocks the doors of the supernatural. When you believe, heaven responds. That is why I tell you, do not remain still, respond to my voice. Declare with your lips that you believe, confirm with your faith that you receive. Every act of faith is a key that unlocks a new reality. Comment: the Lord sees my heart, and that gives me strength to keep going. I am moving the invisible for you, my child. I am touching areas of your life you didn't even realize needed restoration. I am reorganizing your emotions, healing your body, and breathing life into your plans. I am placing the right people on your path, removing those who drained you, and opening connections that do not come through human effort but through divine direction. While the world continues on its course, my spirit works in silence, weaving the thread of your story with perfect detail. You thought I was silent, but my silence has always been a language of care, of construction, of patient love. While you wondered, has he forgotten me, I was preparing the stage for your miracle. While time seemed to challenge you, I was writing a new path for your destiny. And now, this is the moment when the invisible is revealed, when the improbable takes place, when what you once only dreamed of begins to take shape before your very eyes. Therefore, do not fear. I am with you. This is your hour, your time to see with your own eyes the fulfillment of what I have promised you. The miracle that once seemed distant has already been released, and nothing can stop it from reaching you. You will see what time tried to erase. You will see doors opening where once there were walls. You will see light breaking through the darkest places within you. I have looked upon you with tenderness, even when despair came to visit your heart. I saw every morning when your soul wrestled between believing and doubting. I saw your effort to keep going, even when weary. And I tell you, nothing was in vain. Everything, absolutely everything, was part of a perfect plan. While you were waiting for a simple answer, I was designing a complete transformation. Now, my child, prepare yourself. What I will pour over you will be so great that it will surpass everything you asked for, everything you imagined. For I am the God who does infinitely more than man can think or dream. Your story is being rewritten today, under the sound of my voice. Believe, receive, and declare, this is God's time in my life. The time has come for me to bring an end to the storm that has surrounded you for so long. That whirlwind of doubts, those emotions that kept you trapped in a cycle of fear and exhaustion, are being scattered by the power of my voice. Today, the light of my presence enters the dark room of your soul and dissolves every shadow of despair. Not a single word of pain you spoke was in vain. Not a single sigh was ignored. Every time you thought silence meant abandonment, it was actually care. I was rebuilding you in the invisible, preparing your inner structure to carry the weight of what I was planning. The enemy tried to confuse you, to make you believe that time had stolen your destiny, that your dreams were trapped in the past. But he failed. Because what I decree over the life of my child, no one cancels, no one delays, no one steals. What I have written with the fire of my spirit remains forever established. Heaven does not work by chance, but by purpose. And you are within that eternal purpose I designed with love and precision since the beginning of time. My child, the waiting was never punishment. It was the field where I planted the seeds of your faith. Every tear shed in silence was a drop of life watering the soil of your future. Now, the underground rivers that were formed in the dark begin to rise as visible fruit. Everything that seemed stagnant is now moving. Everything that was held back for reasons you could not understand is being released by the power of my word. I declare over you, the season of silence is over. The time of answers has come. And when I release, there is no power in heaven, on earth, or in hell that can resist it. What comes upon you is not merely an answer, it is a manifestation, a direct intervention of my power, bringing order where there was chaos, laughter where there were tears, abundance where there was lack, and healing where there were wounds. It will not be temporary, it will be eternal. It will not be just relief, it will be a transformation that will leave marks of glory on your story and on the stories of those around you. Many will see what I am doing in you and will understand that I, the Lord, still perform miracles. I still raise up those who believed, even when everything around them shouted that it was too late. The doors that are opening now have been sealed for years. Many said they would never open, that your time had passed, that your opportunities were gone. But I, the God who makes the impossible bloom, do not follow the human clock nor consult anyone's opinion to bless my child. Time is no barrier to me, it is a tool. And today I use time in your favor. If I promised to restore you, so it will be. If I declared I would exalt you, I will exalt you. And I will do it in such a way that no one will be able to attribute glory to anything but my faithfulness. I am clearing the path, removing ancient obstacles, healing wounds that still hurt when touched. I am making new what seemed worn, resurrecting what seemed dead, strengthening what had grown weak. Every fragment of your story that you thought was lost, I am gathering to turn into testimony. Even when you didn't notice, I never stopped working. While you thought heaven was silent, I was speaking deeply to your soul, preparing the perfect fulfillment of everything I promised. What I am doing in your life now will not be partial, it will be complete. You will not receive crumbs, but a full table. I will not give you leftovers, but abundance. Because when I decide to act, I act with excellence. Everything that wounded you will become strength. Everything you lacked will be multiplied. Humiliation will become honor, scarcity will become provision, and tears will become laughter. Every area of your life that was touched by pain will now be covered by my glory. The transformation will be so profound that even time itself will not erase the marks of what I will do. And you will finally understand that nothing was lost, only delayed until the appointed moment. I am restoring your vision, awakening your faith, and placing you once again at the center of purpose. A new anointing is being poured upon you now as you read these words. My Spirit surrounds you, quiets your mind, and renews your strength. Do not resist what you feel, it is heaven's confirmation that this word is for you. Now begins something you didn't even know you were waiting for. Not because you lacked faith, but because you could not imagine the greatness of what I was preparing. There are blessings hidden in my plans, spiritual reserves kept only for this moment in time. There are doors built specifically to open at this exact hour. I did not call you to merely survive, but to flourish. I did not call you to live from memories, but to walk in newness of life. I called you to live the supernatural, the unprecedented, the extraordinary. You were designed to manifest my glory on earth, to be a sign that I still turn impossibilities into realities. No mistake, no fall, no wrong turn could erase what I have written over you. Every detour that seemed to pull you away actually brought you closer to the right point. For what comes from my hands is never lost, it is redeemed. What I decree is never canceled, it is fulfilled. And this is the time when everything that once seemed unreachable begins to align with divine precision. My child, I am reordering your life in silence, yet with great power. I am restoring hearts, healing relationships, and opening paths where there were walls. Doors are preparing to open before you, not by human effort, but by heavenly decree. I am moving circumstances, raising the right people, shifting atmospheres. Everything that once limited you is losing its strength now. You are not bound to the past, nor to the opinions of those who never understood your process. You do not depend on human validation to move forward, because my seal is already upon you. The work I am doing cannot be explained logically, for it comes from the eternal. I am taking you to a dimension where faith and reality meet. What once was only a promise will now be fulfillment. What once was a tear will now be a harvest. Rise with courage and declare with your heart, Lord, I believe and I receive. For in the very moment you believe, heaven responds. This is the hour of your complete restoration, the beginning of a new season where my presence will guide you from glory to glory. With love, God. Hope this message has been an inspiration to you. If it touched your heart, write Amen in the comments and share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. I invite you to click on the first comment, where you will find a special prayer and a suggestion to strengthen your spiritual journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. See you tomorrow.